So almost anything and everything that you interact with can be called a stim because stimming is just something that stimulates you. And basically, everything is stimulating, whether you're calming, soothing, that is a form of stimulation. You're stimulating your system to go into the state of soothed or calm, relaxed, to surrender. We can also, and we're then activating that surrender. And we can also stimulate ourselves into action other than surrendered. And we can also stimulate ourselves in other directions. We can stimulate ourselves with substances, with socializing, with textures, sounds, smells, tastes. And we can stimulate ourselves with our movement, with repetitive movements or vocalizations. So stimming becomes everything. The definition that we've been exploring, where stimulating is any repetitive thing that connects you in the layers of your being, that reconnects the layers of your being. And so not all stims will accomplish that. And a lot of the time it's because we're blocking it. So our body, especially our sensing and feeling realm, is always stimulating us towards relief, towards presence, towards that connection of our multi-layered beings. But we're trained in the direction of blocking that. And so bringing our conscious awareness to these conversations is at this point rather essential, because we've been trained to block, because that's the way of living that we've inherited. And our definitions of thriving and high functioning in the social world right now are, dare I say, very inaccurate, dangerous, and abusive. So what we do is we reclaim our natural capacity, our natural desire in our body beings to be connected between the emotional, intellectual, physical, and spiritual realms. That's something that would happen automatically if we didn't have these patterns of blocking it. So engaging stims in an all day, everyday kind of way, never wanting to do less, always with our desire to do more, always or ever more noticing our body being, our subconscious, our unconscious propensity towards doing more stimming, and our self-conscious, our learned social context of doing less, to be more appropriate, to be more normal, to be more in a restrictive definition of high functioning. So we're just going to push that off the edge of the table and let it fall. And we're going to do things like clap, flat, tap, rub, and especially all these examples are of the hands. The hands, the feet, and the ears map out the whole body. So all of your different body areas, all of the different layers of our beings are mapped out on these essential aspects of ourselves. So a lot of stimming can revolve around the hands, feet, and ears, because we're really engaging with our whole system when we do that. And one of my favorites, especially when I'm on the computer a lot or when I'm doing work and I'm trying to focus, is this. I run my thumb over my fingertips, because the brain, the mind, is mapped out in the fingertips. And so it's engaging with my mental world. It's like it's bringing energy there for it to stay open, not to overwhelm. It gets overwhelmed when my mind gets cut off and then there's just energy stuck there. When energy is circulating, then I can stay in my flow state for a sincere amount of time and really be with what I am creating or saying. So different stims have different benefits. And you need to play around and find what works for you in any given moment, and collecting a bag of tricks of your favorites and things that feel connected to certain experiences or environments or moments is a is a fun part of this adventure that we're on. So we're stimming for soothing and pleasure, and both of those activate our system to be fully connected to itself. And when we're connected to ourselves, we're available for authentic, sincere, self-responsible, non-abusive interactions and relationships with others and with our work. That's what we're going for here. So what we're exploring consciously with this DCFO is how we can allow stimming in meaningful, peaceful, enjoyable ways throughout our days as an ongoing interaction we're having with ourselves, as an ongoing aspect of our conscious awareness of ourself in this chaotic life. And as we come into relationship with ourselves this way, life becomes more acceptable, more fun. So other examples, anything wiggling your tongue, teeth, chattering, any repetitive movements. So nodding or stretching, playing with your hair, tugging with your hair. If you've ever been on a Zoom call with me, you'll see me braiding and unbraiding my hair or twisting my hair. Again, anything with the hands, ears, or feet, tapping, bouncing, clapping. I'm clapping my knees right now together. Snapping, and repeating words or noises, tones. So mantras is a form of stimming. And again, stimming, all of these kinds of stimming are guiding the energy. That's what stimming does, is it guides the energy and it reconnects, and it has a circulation and connecting effect between the layers of our experience. So we can jump, we spin in circles, running or walking also counts as stimulating. Some people blink rapidly or in an emphasis. Some hitting, tapping, or applying pressure or pinching brings attention back to the body. Moving your jaw or your joints. Wringing your hands, knocking fists. Rubbing lips together, that's something I do a lot. Tiptoeing. Giving yourself a hug. Rubbing your skin. Stroking, any kind of stroking. Deep, meaningful breathing. Any attention you bring to your breath, any conscious breath, and orgasms, or any kind of clench and release. So we'll be revisiting different ways of stimming and how that plays into our 11-minute DCFO practice as we explore discharge, circulation, flexibility, and openness throughout our introduction to DCFO, throughout our 30-day challenge. Any humming, singing, counting, listening to music, playing music, making art, anything that you're doing with your hands, particularly anything that you enjoy or that brings you into that meditative state, that's a positive or a beneficial way of stimming. Again, we also stimulate ourselves with substances, with food, which when done consciously is wonderful, brings us into that present state, that aligned, that connecting. We can also use it as a disassociation factor, like I eat when I have feelings I don't want to deal with, or I drink coffee and disassociate from my body and just get all hyped up and can't feel my feet, that kind of thing. So what we're doing here is we're getting to know stimming as something that we're already doing actively all day, every day. And how can we play with stimming to reinvent our definition of thriving and high functioning as something highly accessible and radically beneficial for ourselves as individuals with our wellness and our wealth and our relationships, and that translates into collective amplification of thriving, wellness, wealth. etc. Anything we use our senses for, sniffing, smelling, candles, jewelry, incense, anything that we do with our body counts as stimming. It's how are we using it? What's the effect? Where is our awareness? Where is our relationship with what we're doing? What is it providing for us in the moment? And what can it provide for us long term? So perfumes, lotion, eating, chewing, sucking on a candy, sucking on a nipple. Babies want milk in bottles, not just because they're hungry, but because they're stimulating themselves to be okay in their body, to reconnect. They are always naturally moving emotions. They have not yet learned not to do that in our society. So babies are an amazing example. Having a child myself 3 years ago sent me on this path, or widened this path that I was on, of coming into awareness of stimulating oneself to allow emotional intelligence, to use the mind as an observer, and to be a flexible and open person in this life, to treat ourselves with compassion, respect, and enjoy our experience. And then we are therefore promoting that in others.